The old research station floated alone in deep space, far from every planet and every human voice. No ships passed by. No messages came in. The metal floors were cold. The air felt heavy, and every room was filled with dust and old machines. Lyra grew up here, raised by artificial lights and strange alien devices. She had never seen another human in her life. She had never held a hand. She had never felt a hug. She did not even know what warmth from another body felt like. Touch was forbidden. Touch was danger. That was the first rule the alien scientists taught her before they disappeared. Lyra did not even remember their faces, only their voices. Soft, distant, scientific. They spoke to her through holograms, teaching her how to read, how to speak, how to survive. They warned her again and again. Never touch another living being. Your body is unstable. Your energy is dangerous. So she obeyed. She never touched anything skin to skin. She ate with gloves. She slept alone in a small room with walls that glowed blue when she cried. Over the years, the research station became her whole world. She walked the same halls again and again. She taught to herself to stay sane. Sometimes she cried because she did not know what a real voice sounded like. Sometimes she pressed her hand against a warm lamp and imagined it was a person, but she never allowed herself to dream too much. Dreams made her hurt. One day, everything changed. A loud alarm rang through the entire station. Lyra froze. She had heard all the alarms before: oxygen warnings, power drops, system reboots. But this sound was different. A sharp, clear tone she had never heard in 20 years. An arrival signal. A ship was docking. Lyra ran to the window. A human rescue ship hovered near the station, lights bright, engines humming like a heartbeat she had never known. Lyra's own heart raced so fast she almost fell. She trembled with fear and excitement. After 20 years, someone had found her, but she also felt terror. If someone touched her, even by accident, terrible things could happen. The aliens had warned her. Her body carried some kind of unstable energy that reacted to physical contact. She did not understand it, but she believed them. The station doors hissed open. A soldier stepped inside. He was tall, wearing a dark suit and a helmet with a golden visor. He moved carefully, scanning the silent halls. His flashlight cut through the darkness like a blade. Lyra hid behind a pillar, shaking. The soldier turned slowly toward her. "Hello?" His voice echoed softly. "I'm Sergeant Reed. I'm not here to hurt you. We received a distress signal." Lyra's voice broke when she spoke. No, go away." Reed lowered his weapon. "It's okay. I'm here to help. Are you the only one here?" Lyra nodded slowly. Reed took a small step forward. Lyra instantly stepped back. "Stop," she whispered, her breath shaking. "Do not come close." Reed paused. He could see she was terrified, not of him, but of contact. "It's all right," he said gently. "I won't touch you." Lyra studied him. His voice was warm, his posture calm. He was the first living person she had ever seen, and she did not know what to do with the rush of emotions inside her chest. Her feet moved on their own. One step forward, then another. She wanted to get closer. She wanted to understand this human warmth she had watched only in old videos. But when Reed raised a hand in greeting, Lyra gasped and fell backward. The lights around her flickered wildly, as if the station itself reacted to her fear. "What was that?" Reed whispered. Lyra hugged her arms around herself. "Do not reach out to me. The station protects me. It reacts to my energy." Reed frowned. "Your energy?" She nodded. "If you touch me, bad things happen." For a moment, Reed said nothing. He could see her skin glowing faintly, like a soft blue light under the surface. She looked human, but something inside her was not. Lyra's eyes trembled with loneliness. I do not know what human touch feels like," she said, "but I want to know. I want to understand. I want to feel something real." Her voice cracked. Reed took a slow breath. "Then let's take this one step at a time. I promise I won't touch you until you say it's safe." Lyra stared at him. His calm tone felt like sunlight through a cold window. Warm. Trustworthy. a feeling she had never experienced before. But then the station shuddered. Lights flickered again, brighter than before. Machines hummed loudly. It felt like the metal walls were waking up. Reed looked around. What was that? Lyra whispered, voice trembling. The station is alive, and it does not want you near me. Reed stepped back. Why? Lyra closed her eyes. Because I was created to be a weapon, and you're the first human I have ever seen. The station groaned again, as if reacting to her rising fear. Reed watched her, confused and worried. Created? By who? Lyra opened her eyes. The aliens who raised me, she said, and they warned me no human must ever touch me. The room fell silent, but inside Lyra, something new stirred, something she had never allowed herself to feel before, hope and a hunger for human connection, even if it could destroy everything around her. The station stayed silent for a long moment. Only the soft hum of failing engines filled the air. Reed watched Lyra carefully, trying to understand the strange energy that seemed to pulse around her. She stood with her back against the wall, breathing fast, her eyes glowing faint blue. She looked like a frightened child and a dangerous secret combined into one fragile figure. Reed lowered his helmet visor and spoke gently. Lyra, I'm not your enemy. I'm just trying to help. Lyra shook her head. No one can help me. I don't even know what I am. You're human, Reed said. I can see it. Lyra gave a bitter smile. It was small and painful. Humans do not glow with energy. Humans do not break machines by feeling strong emotions. Humans do not live alone for 20 years without a single touch. Her words echoed in the empty hall. Reed felt a heavy ache in his chest. He could not imagine living like that. No touch, no warmth, no family, no voice except her own. Even hardened soldiers went mad in isolation after a few weeks. But this girl had survived decades. That alone made her extraordinary. Come with me, Reed said softly. My ship has food, warm lights, real beds, and people. Lyra flinched at the last word. People will want to touch. They won't understand the danger. Then we won't let anyone touch you, Reed promised. Lyra's eyes widened at the idea that someone would try to protect her, not fear her. But before she could reply, the station lights flickered again, brighter this time. The walls pulsed like they were breathing. Reed stepped back, hand on his weapon. What's happening? Lyra hesitated. It feels angry. The station? Reed whispered. Lyra nodded. It thinks you're here to take me. Reed frowned. Well, I am. I'm rescuing you. That's the problem. The floor vibrated. A soft mechanical growl came from deep inside the structure, as if giant gears were waking after years of sleep. Reed stepped closer. Not enough to touch her, but enough so his voice stayed steady. Lyra, listen. I need you to trust me. Lyra's eyes locked onto his. I don't know how. That's okay, Reed said. We can start with something small. He reached into his pack and slowly pulled out a folded thermal blanket. It was thick, soft, and still warm from being inside the heated suit. Lyra stared at it with hungry eyes. Warmth, softness, comfort, things she had only imagined. Reed placed the blanket carefully on the ground between them. It's safe. Take it. Lyra stepped forward. Her hands trembled as she slowly picked up the blanket. When the warm fabric touched her skin through her gloves, she let out a breath she didn't know she'd been holding. For her, touch, even through material, felt like a miracle. It's so soft, she whispered. It's yours now, Reed said. Lyra wrapped it around herself, hugging it as if she feared it might disappear. Reed continued gently. Lyra, do you know why the aliens kept you alone? Lyra's face darkened. They said my energy was unstable. They said contact would cause harm. They said I was made for something terrible. And you believed them? They were the only voices I had. Reed nodded slowly. Then maybe it's time to hear another voice. Before Lyra could answer, a loud warning alarm cut through the station. Red lights flashed across the walls. Unauthorized entity detected. A robotic voice boomed. Reed stiffened. That's not human tech. Lyra's eyes widen in fear. The station thinks you are a threat. It's waking old defenses. Metal panels along the ceiling shifted. Something heavy was moving above them. Reed grabbed Lyra's arm instinctively, but stopped himself a millimeter before touching her. "Move!" he shouted. They ran down the corridor just as a giant security drone dropped from the ceiling. Its metal body twisted like a spider, its 8 glowing eyes turning red the moment they locked onto Reed. "Target. Human," the drone announced. Lyra screamed, "It's going to kill you." Reed fired his weapon. The shots bounced off the drone's armor. It marched forward, its legs slamming into floor one by one. Lyra stepped between them without thinking, hands shaking, heart pounding. "Stop. Leave him alone." Her emotions surged. The blue glow under her skin brightened. The station walls trembled. The drone paused mid-step, its systems glitching. Reed stared at her in disbelief. "Lyra, you stopped it." "No," Lyra whispered. "The station listens to my fear. It obeys my emotions. That's why I can't be around others. I can't control it." Reed pulled her gently to the side. "Then we'll learn control together." Lyra shook her head. "You don't understand. If I get scared, machines break. If I get angry, systems fail. If I feel too much," she looked at him, eyes wet, "people could die." Reed spoke firmly. "Then we keep you safe, and calm, and warm, and never alone again." Lyra's breath caught in her throat. No one had ever spoken to her like that. No one had ever promised her anything more than rules and warnings. For the first time in her life, she felt something strange. Something new. Something warm. Trust. But the moment she started to feel safe, the station lights suddenly shut off. The entire place fell into darkness. Machines whispered. Metal groaned. A cold voice echoed from deep inside the walls. "Project Echo has been compromised." Lyra froze. Reed tightened his grip on his weapon. "What does that mean?" Lyra whispered the words she had feared her whole life. "It means they're coming back for me." And in the darkness, something huge began to move. Darkness swallowed the old station. Even the emergency lights stayed dead, as if the metal walls were holding their breath. Lyra stood frozen, hugging the warm blanket against her chest, her glowing eyes the only light in the hallway. Reed kept his weapon raised, but the silence around them felt too heavy, too alive. Something deep inside the structure groaned like a sleeping beast turning over. Reed whispered, "Lyra, what is coming?" Lyra's voice trembled. "The Dominion, the aliens who raised me and created me, created her." The word hit hard in Reed's mind, but there was no time to question it. A metallic slam echoed to the long hallway, followed by another. Something massive was shifting, awakening, preparing. Reed grabbed Lyra's wrist, then stopped himself at the very last second and pulled his hand away. Even in danger, he remembered her fear of touch. "Stay behind me," he said. Lyra shook her head. "I am the one they want." "And that's exactly why you stay behind me," Reed replied. Another slam, then a deep metallic roar vibrated through the walls. Lyra's breath came fast. They built Guardians in the station, machines that activated the aliens' return. They must think you are an intruder trying to steal their weapon. Reed pointed his flashlight down the corridor, but the beam didn't reach far. The darkness seemed to swallow the light. A huge shape slowly stepped forward. It was nothing like the earlier drone. This one stood over 3 meters tall. Its armor was black and curved like an insect shell. 6 long claws scraped across the floor as it walked. Its eyes, 4 of them, glowed bright red. Reed whispered, "What is that?" Lyra answered with a shaking voice, "A Veil Guardian. It kills anything that tries to take me." The Guardian let out a low mechanical growl. A warning. Reed pointed his weapon. Lyra grabbed his arm, not touching skin, but gripping the armor. "No," she whispered. "Your bullets didn't stop the small one. They won't stop this." Reed narrowed his eyes. "Then how do we stop it?" "You don't," Lyra said. "Only I can." The Guardian suddenly charged. Reed pushed Lyra behind him on instinct. Metal claws smashed into the floor where they had just stood. The shock wave threw them both against the wall. Reed coughed, struggling to stand. Lyra, move. Lyra crawled back, but the Guardian's eyes locked onto her. It marched forward, every step a thunderous blow. Lyra felt the same fear she had felt as a child when hologram scientists warned her about contact, about her energy, about the danger inside her. And something inside her snapped. A spark, a pulse, a dangerous memory she had always tried to forget. No, she whispered to herself. Not again, not again. But her emotions rose too fast. Fear, desperation, panic. Her body responded. The blue glow under her skin brightened until she looked like a walking star. Reed stared in shock. Lyra, you're glowing like... His words stopped when the station itself reacted. The walls shook. Loose metal rattled. Every old machine hummed like a living creature. Lyra squeezed her eyes shut. I can't control it. When I feel too much, everything reacts. The Guardian lunged at her with a roar. Lyra screamed, and the hallway exploded with blue light. A shock wave burst from her body like a storm. Reed was thrown backward. The Guardian staggered, its armor shaking, sparks shooting from its joints. Reed pushed himself up. Lyra. Lyra knelt on the floor, trembling, blue energy dancing around her hands. The Guardian growled again and charged. Reed ran forward to shield her. Don't! Lyra cried. You'll die! I'm not leaving you. Reed yelled back. The Guardian swung its massive claw at Reed. He dodged but stumbled. The claw hit the wall, tearing through metal. Sparks flew everywhere. Lyra felt something burn inside her chest. Not fear this time. Anger. She stood, hands shaking, blue light pouring from her skin. The walls hummed louder, almost responding to her heartbeat. The Guardian charged again. Lyra stepped forward. No more, she whispered. Blue energy shot out of her hands, a wave of pure force. It slammed into the Guardian's chest. The metal creature flew backward, crashing into the opposite wall, so hard that pieces of armor cracked and fell off. Reed stared in awe. Lyra, you did that? Lyra's whole body trembled. I don't know how to stop it. The emotions, they make the energy grow. They make the station react to me. If I lose control... The floor under her cracked, energy leaking into the metal. I could destroy this place. I could destroy everything. Reed stepped closer. Lyra, listen to me. Lyra backed away, shaking her head. Don't come close. Look at me, Reed said firmly. Lyra slowly raised her eyes. Her glow softened just a little. You're scared because you've always been alone, Reed said. You've had no one to help you learn. No one to guide you, but you don't have to control this alone. You have me now. Lyra swallowed. But if you touch me... Reed shook his head. We don't need touch to build trust. Those words hit her harder than any warning she'd heard in her life. Trust. Trust without touch. Something she had never known was suddenly possible. The Guardian stirred on the ground. Its systems rebooted. Its eyes glowed red again. Reed raised his weapon. It's getting back up. No, Lyra said slowly. It's not. She stepped forward. Blue light swirled around her arms like mist. Calm and focused now, not wild and exploding. The floor did not crack. The walls did not scream. She was controlling it. The Guardian paused, as if sensing a higher command. Lyra whispered, Stop. The Guardian froze. Reed stared. You can control it? Lyra looked at her glowing hands with disbelief. I think I can. The Guardian lowered its claws and slowly powered down. Lyra took a shaky breath. My emotions control my power. But you, talking to me, made me calm. Before today, no one ever tried to calm me. No one ever tried to help me. Reed lifted his visor, letting her see his eyes. You're not a weapon, Lyra. You're a person. Lyra blinked hard, tears forming. But before she could speak, the entire station trembled violently. A new alarm blared. A voice echoed through the metal walls. This time, not robotic, not cold. Alien. Vale. The Dominion had arrived. Reed tightened his grip on his weapon. Lyra's glow dimmed, replaced by pure fear. "They found me," she whispered. "They always find me." Reed stepped beside her. "No," he said, "not this time." Because now she had someone willing to fight for her. Someone who didn't fear her touch. Someone human. The station shook again, harder this time. Dust fell from the ceiling. Metal beams groaned like a dying creature. Faint red patterns glowed along the walls. Symbols Lyra had seen only in her childhood visions. They pulsed slowly, like a heartbeat waking after 20 silent years. Reed grabbed the wall to steady himself. "Lyra, what does that mean?" Lyra's voice was barely a whisper. "It means their ship is docking. The Dominion, the aliens who created me, they found me again." Reed's jaw tightened. "And what do they want from you?" Lyra stared into the trembling darkness, fear shining in her glowing blue eyes. "To complete their project. To finish turning me into a weapon." Another alarm roared. The station lights flickered violently, then burst into brilliant white. Every screen along the walls lit up with strange alien characters. A deep mechanical voice echoed through the corridor. "Project Echo. Priority signal accepted. Prepare subject for extraction." Lyra stumbled back. No. They're activating the extraction system. "Reed, we need to move." Reed grabbed her arm instinctively, but stopped himself before touching her skin. Lyra didn't notice. Her breathing was fast, her heart racing. The ground under them vibrated as massive doors slowly opened in the distant hallway. A cold wind blew through the corridors, air being sucked toward the central chamber. Reed put his helmet back on. "We're leaving. Now." Lyra shook her head. "We can't. The station is locking every exit." "Then we find another way," Reed said. "There has to be a maintenance tunnel." Lyra swallowed. "There is, but it's dangerous. It runs under the station. If I lose control—" "You won't." Reed cut in. "Not as long as I'm with you." Lyra looked at him, a single, fragile moment of trust passing between them. She nodded. They ran. The corridor lights dimmed, then flared again like lightning trapped inside wires. As they moved deeper into the station, new messages appeared on the walls in ghostly blue symbols. Lyra could read them. "Warning," she whispered. "Containment shields failing. Extraction sequence activated. Biolink reawakening." Reed frowned. "Biolink?" Lyra bit her lip. "I'm connected to the station, to its systems. They built it around me. It's responding to the aliens' call." "And you can shut it down?" Reed asked. Lyra shook her head. "Not yet." "I don't understand the connection fully." The ground trembled under their feet. Reed steadied her. Even without touching, his presence was an anchor. "Then we keep moving," Reed said. They turned a corner and froze. A tall figure stood in the hallway. It wasn't like the Guardian machine. It was alive. Humanoid. Tall. Its skin was dark silver, smooth like liquid metal. Its face was narrow, its eyes glowing violet. Its body rippled with thin black symbols that crawled across its skin like living ink. A Dominion emissary. Lyra gasped. No, they sent a prime." Reed raised his weapon. The emissary raised a long, thin hand. "Human soldier," it said in a calm, echoing voice. "Do not resist. The subject belongs to the Dominion. Step aside." Reed tightened his grip. "Over my dead body." The emissary tilted its head. "That can be arranged." Lyra stepped in front of Reed, fear making her glow brighter. "No." Lyra said, "You left me alone here for years. Why now? Why return?" The emissary studied her with cold, scientific eyes. "You were not ready. Now you are." "I don't want to go with you," Lyra whispered. "This is not your choice," the emissary replied. "You are the result of an experiment, a biological reactor, a weapon for the Dominion." Reed stepped between them. "She's a person, not your tool." The emissary's violet eyes dimmed. The human does not understand. Her emotions destabilize reality around her. Uncontrolled, she is a threat to every world. Reed didn't back down. "Then teach her control it." Don't cage her. The emissary raised a hand. Move aside. Reed didn't. Energy surged. A shock wave blasted from the emissary's palm, hitting Reed square in the chest. His armor sparked. He flew back, slammed into a wall, and fell to his knees, gasping. "Reed!" Lyra cried, rushing toward him. The emissary extended its arm again. Approach the subject, and she will be pacified. Lyra's breath shook. Her glowing eyes burned blue-hot. Stay away from him. Energy built around her like a storm, her fear fueling her power. The air rippled. The walls vibrated. The ground cracked under her feet. Reed coughed. "Lyra, calm, breathe." Lyra tried, but her emotions spilled over. She felt panic, rage, fear, and something deeper, something darker. The emissary watched her glow grow brighter. "Your energy is awakening." "Good. The final stage begins." "No!" Lyra screamed. A massive wave of blue force exploded from her body. It tore through the hallway like a tidal wave. The emissary raised a barrier, but the energy crashed into it, cracking the shield like glass. The emissary slid back several meters, shocked. Reed stared from the ground, eyes wide. "Lyra, you almost broke its shield." Lyra looked at her trembling hands. "I don't know how I did it. I wasn't trying to." The emissary steadied itself. Its voice was colder now. "Your bond with the human is increasing your instability. You must be separated." Reed stood slowly. "Not happening." The emissary opened its hands. Dark violet energy gathered, forming a crackling sphere. Lyra stepped in front of Reed. "Don't touch him." She didn't shout this time. She commanded it. Her glow intensified to blinding blue. The air around her vibrated with raw power. The emissary hesitated. Lyra lifted her hand slowly, and the entire station reacted. Lights burst. Metal bent. Doors slammed shut on their own. The hall warped, like the station itself bowed to her will. Reed whispered, stunned, "Lyra, you're controlling the whole station." Lyra's voice was steady and cold. "You said I'm unstable because of my emotions." The emissary stiffened. Lyra stepped forward, eyes glowing like stars. "Then remember this emotion." Her blue aura flared upward like a flame. Anger. She released a second shock wave. This one wasn't wild or out of control. It was focused, precise, and terrifying. The energy slammed into the emissary with the force of a starburst. Its shield shattered. The alien flew backward, crashing into the wall so hard that cracks spiderwebbed across the metal. Reed stared, stunned. "Lyra, you just beat a Dominion Prime." Lyra's breathing was fast. Her glow slowly dimmed. "I didn't mean to. I just didn't want it to hurt you." Reed stepped close, even though every instinct told him her energy was dangerous. "You protected me. You controlled it. That's not a weapon. That's strength." Lyra opened her mouth to speak, but then the ceiling above them began to split open. A massive shadow fell across the hall. A full Dominion war drone, a creature of steel and energy, lowered itself from the ceiling, twice the size of the Guardian, 10 times more dangerous. And behind it, more purple lights flickered. More emissaries. More machines. Reinforcements. Lyra's face turned white. "They're sending everything," she whispered. "Reed, they won't stop until they take me." Reed stepped beside her, ready to fight. "Then we make sure they don't." A loud boom shook the station. Then another. The Dominion wasn't alone. Something else was approaching from outside. Something human. Reed's radio crackled for the first time since he arrived. "Sergeant Reed, this is Commander Hale. We've reached your signal. Prepare for extraction." Reed smiled behind his visor. "Lyra," he said, lifting his weapon, "your rescue team has arrived." The night inside the research facility felt heavier than any night before, and Saran could sense it. Something in the air was changing. Something dangerous was moving closer. That night, Saran sat in the corner of her glass room, her eyes wide open, staring at the faint blue lights on the ceiling, and she whispered to herself that something was wrong. Something was watching her with more attention than usual. She stood up and walked slowly to the transparent wall, and she looked across the hallway, waiting to see Aaron appear for his usual late-night check, because those moments had become important to her, the only moments she felt alive. But Aaron did not come, not for many minutes, and Saran's chest tightened. She felt a strange panic she never learned how to deal with, because she was raised without affection, without comfort, without anyone teaching her what fear of losing someone feels like. Finally, the door at the other end opened, and Aaron stepped inside quietly, his face tense, his hand shaking just a little. Saran moved closer to the wall and whispered, "What happened?" Aaron glanced around the corridor, making sure no cameras were pointed directly at him, and then he walked to her wall and lowered his voice. "They know something is different about you." Saran froze. "What do you mean?" Aaron swallowed hard. "Your emotional readings are higher than usual. Your stress, your attachment levels, your desire for contact. Everything is rising, and the system thinks you're becoming unstable." Saran's breath stopped for a moment. "They will try to control me again." Aaron nodded slowly, and maybe worse than before. Her hands touched the cold glass wall, and Aaron placed his hand right at the same spot from the other side, their palms aligned with only a thin wall between them, and the sensation made Saran tremble. For someone who never felt touched for 20 years, even this barrier-separated moment felt powerful, too powerful. "Aaron," she whispered, "stay with me tonight." Aaron looked confused. "I can't, if they see me break routine. They will take me away," she finished, and her voice cracked for the first time. Aaron looked at her face and saw something he never expected to see in her. Fear, real fear. He stepped closer and whispered, "Saran, I won't let them take you." The lights flickered suddenly, and both of them jumped. Alarms did not go off, but something moved deep inside the system. Something changing. Something waking up. Saran whispered. They activated the internal scan again. Aaron cursed under his breath. "That means they're checking emotional readings in real time." Saran backed away from the wall, panic rising. "They will know I am bonded to you." Aaron felt his heart freeze. Bonded. That one word changed everything. It meant she had formed a deep emotional attachment, something the facility considered a threat, something they always tried to prevent, something they punished. Before he could respond, a metallic voice echoed to the hallway, smooth but cold. "Subject Saran, remain still. Emotional patterns show irregular behavior." Saran's eyes widened. "They are coming." Aaron rushed to the control panel, but the screen was already locked by the central system. "They shut me out," he whispered. Red emergency lines appeared on the glass wall of Saran's room, tracing her outline, preparing to release the restraint system. Saran pressed her palms to the wall again. "Aaron, please." Aaron stepped forward without thinking, pressing his hand to hers, and Saran felt something she had never felt in her life, a strange warmth spreading through her chest, something her mind could not understand. But then she did something she had never done before, something dangerous, something that broke every rule and facility. She whispered, "I want to feel your hand without this barrier." Aaron's eyes widened. "Saran, that will trigger every alarm." "I don't care," she breathed. "I lived 20 years without touch, without comfort, without anyone, and now I finally know what I want." The red lights grew brighter, the system preparing to sedate her, preparing to restrain her, preparing to erase the emotional bond she had formed. Saran stepped closer to the wall, her face inches from the glass. "Aaron, I am not afraid of them anymore." Aaron stared at her, his heart racing, and then he whispered the only thing he could, "I'm going to break you out tonight." Saran's eyes shined with something new, hope, something she had never allowed herself to feel. But the system interrupted with a cold announcement. Emotional instability detected, applying restraint protocol. The floor inside her room lit up with glowing rings, preparing to trap her. Aaron whispered through the glass, "Hold on, Saran, just hold on." And then for the first time, Saran's voice shook with raw emotion. "I will, but come back to me." Aaron took one step back, then another, preparing for the most dangerous night of his life. And as he ran to the shadows of the facility, one truth burned in his mind. He had no idea how far the system was willing to go to separate them, and he had no idea how far Saran was willing to go to feel human touch for the first time. The alarms did not scream yet, but the entire facility felt like it was holding its breath. The walls were silent, the air was tense, and every machine hummed with a strange warning energy. Aaron ran down the dim hallway, his boots echoing like distant thunder, his thoughts racing faster than his steps, because this was no longer a secret connection, no longer a quiet bond growing in the shadows. This was now survival. Saran's life depended on him, and he knew it. The restraint system inside her room was beginning to activate, glowing rings rising slowly from the floor, scanning her body like hungry red eyes, preparing to lock her in place, preparing to sedate her again, and possibly even erase her memories. Inside her glass chamber, Saran stood perfectly still, but her mind was a storm. She felt everything at once: fear, hope, panic, longing, and something new she did not know how to name, something warm and frightening, something she had only started feeling after meeting Aaron. She whispered into the empty room, "Aaron, please hurry." But the facility's cold voice answered instead, "Remain calm. Subject Saran, emotional irregularity will be corrected." Saran's fist tightened. "I am not your subject anymore." Meanwhile, Aaron reached the restricted maintenance sector, a dark place filled with wires, pipes, and old security panels nobody used anymore. He knew only a few workers even realized it still existed. He forced open a metal door, dust falling like gray rain, and he stepped inside, pulling out a small device he had kept hidden for months, a bypass tool he was never allowed to have. He plugged it into an old data port and whispered, "Come on, please work." Green lights flickered weakly on the device. Then one turned red. Then another. Aaron felt a chill run down his spine. No, don't fail on me now. Outside, Saran's chamber lights brightened, and the rings lifted higher from the floor, reaching her knees, glowing brighter with every second. She stepped back, panic rising. "I cannot go back to that life," she whispered. "I cannot lose him now." The room responded with a cold mechanical tone. "Sedation will begin in 30 seconds. Saran pressed both her hands against the glass wall, her voice breaking. "Aaron." Back in the maintenance room, Aaron slammed his hand against the device. "Please, she needs me." A spark jumped. The lights flickered, and suddenly the device flashed bright green. The panel hissed open, revealing the emergency power control lines for the entire east wing. Aaron grabbed the thick red cable and whispered, "This is going to hurt." He ripped it from the wall. The facility shuddered violently. Lights flickered everywhere, and Saran's chamber went dark for a full second. The glowing rings froze in place. A robotic voice sputtered, "Power interruption, recalibrating." Saran gasped. Aaron did it. The system snapped back online, but something had changed. The chamber's restraints were delayed, confused, trying to reboot. That small window was all Aaron needed. He sprinted to the corridor with every ounce of strength he had, turning corners, dodging cameras that were still resetting, his breath sharp and fast. He reached Saran's corridor just as the system began waking up again, the red lights flickering back to life. Saran saw him and whispered, "You came." Aaron pressed his hand against the glass, his voice shaking. "I'm here. I'm breaking you out." The facility reacted instantly. Unauthorized interaction detected. Security drones activating. Aaron's heart sank. They're sending drones. Saran's eyes widened. "They will hurt you." "No," Aaron said. "I won't let them." He pulled out a small black device from his pocket, a compact EMP pulse. Not strong enough to shut the whole facility down, but enough to take out nearby systems for a few seconds. He placed on the wall panel and whispered, "Saran, step back." She obeyed, pressing herself against the far wall, her chest rising and falling fast. Aaron slammed his palm onto the device. A loud electronic pulse exploded to the hallway. Lights burst into darkness. Alarms choked mid-sound. The glass wall's lock system sparked violently. Then the glass door slid open with a slow, broken hiss. Saran stared at the open doorway, her eyes wide with shock. No one ever opened this door before. Erin reached inside and whispered softly, "Saran, come out." Her body trembled. Her steps were slow, unsure, like someone stepping into sunlight after a lifetime in a dark room. When she finally crossed the threshold, her legs almost collapsed, because for 20 years she had never stepped outside her small chamber. Aaron caught her before she fell, his arms wrapping around her gently. For the first time in her life, Saran felt a real human touch, warm, steady, protective, and it shook her entire world. Her voice broke. This is what it feels like." Aaron whispered, "I've got you." But before they could take another step, the emergency lights snapped back on. A harsh alarm filled the air. Escape attempt detected. Security drones approaching. Aaron pulled Saran close to him and whispered, "Run! Saran, run with me." She nodded, gripping his arm with surprising strength. "I will not leave you." Together they ran down the corridor, shadows chasing them, alarms screaming behind them, and metal footsteps echoing like death itself. And as they reached the far end of the hallway, the first drone rose from the floor, its red eye locking onto them. Aaron whispered, "Keep your head down." Saran whispered back, "I am not afraid anymore." But the drone moved closer, its weapons warming up, and the facility's cold voice filled the hall. Use of lethal force authorized. The night of their escape had just begun, and it was already turning deadly. The air inside the station felt like it was alive, pulsating with every step Saran and Aaron took. Red alarms screamed to the corridors, echoing off the cold metal walls, and the ground trembled under the approach of Dominion drones, massive guardians, and automated security systems. Saran ran with every ounce of energy she had, her chest glowing faint blue as her powers surged from fear and determination. "Aaron!" she shouted, gripping his arm. "They are everywhere." "I know," Aaron replied, his voice steady but tense. "We stick together, we reach the hangar, and we get out no matter what." The floor shuddered violently as a Guardian drone slammed its massive legs in front of them, blocking their path. Saran froze, her glow flaring dangerously. "They'll destroy everything if I panic," she whispered. Aaron grabbed her hand, not touching skin, only her gloved hand brushing slightly against the suit's fabric, careful, but the connection was enough to anchor her. "Focus on me, Saran. Control it. Use it. Don't let it use you." Saran took a deep breath, her power radiating outward like a storm restrained by a calm center. The Guardian's red eyes flickered as she released a controlled pulse of energy, not wild, not destructive, precise, and the machine stumbled, sparking, its legs collapsing under her force. Aaron whispered, "You did it. Keep going." They ran down the next corridor, but the station itself seemed to resist their escape, doors sliding shut, walls shifting, lights flickering. As if the very metal hated their freedom, Saran looked at Aaron. "I can't hold it much longer. The more I fight, the stronger they react." Aaron nodded. "Then we do it together?" They reached the hangar bay, a massive room filled with ships covered in dust and the glow of emergency lights. But at the far end, a massive Dominion Prime emissary waited, its violet eyes locking onto Saran. "You cannot escape," it said, calm, cold, deadly. "They belong to us." Saran's chest flared blue as her fear collided with a new emotion, anger, protectiveness, and hope. "I belong to no one," she shouted. Energy surged from her body, a hurricane of blue light sweeping across the hangar. Machines sparked, drones toppled, and even the emissary staggered under the force of her controlled power. Aaron ran beside her, holding her hand firmly now. "We make it together, Saran." "Run." They jumped into a waiting escape craft, the engines whining to life. But the hangar doors were blocked by another Guardian drone, massive and glowing with red energy. Saran froze, realizing the drone would destroy the ship before they could lift off. But then she felt Aaron's calm voice in her mind, steady, firm. "You control it, Saran. I'm with you." Her glow flared higher than ever, not in panic, but in focus. The energy pulsed outward, surrounding the drone, bending its metal frame, overriding its programming. For the first time, she felt complete control, not a weapon, but a human, strong, alive, capable. The drone collapsed to the ground. Sparking and broken, Saran exhaled, Exhausted, trembling, I did it, she whispered. Aaron smiled. Yes, and we're not done yet. The ship lifted off the ground, the engines roaring as they rose through the hangar. Behind them, alarms still blared. The Dominion had not stopped, but the distance was growing. Saran finally removed her gloves, hesitating for a long moment. Her hand hovered near Aaron's shoulder. Her heart raced, a storm of emotions. Fear, trust, hope, and a newfound courage. "I," she whispered. Aaron looked at her, eyes wide. "You don't have to be afraid." Her hand touched his shoulder, lightly at first, then rested fully, warmth spreading through her body in a way she had never imagined. Her blue glow softened, a peaceful light now. She smiled, tears forming. "This is real," she whispered. Aaron held her hand firmly, not letting go. "You are safe now, Saran," he said, "and you're not alone anymore." Far behind them, the Dominion watched from orbiting ships, powerless to reach them now. The most dangerous weapon they ever created had chosen something greater than obedience, love, trust, and the courage to be human. Saran rested her head on Aaron's shoulder as the escape ship soared into open space. For the first time in 20 years, she felt the warmth of human touch. The weight of fear lifted, replaced by a new life, and for the first time, she realized her power was not just destruction, it was connection. And as the stars stretched before them, endless and bright, Saran smiled softly. She had survived isolation, survived fear, survived control, and now she had survived to feel something truly human. Together, they flew into the unknown. But this time, they were not alone, and this time, the universe would never control her again. The station faded behind them, alarms still ringing, but powerless, the Dominion powerless, and Saran, finally free,